Okay, so in this problem, we are asked to find out the sum of 2n+1 terms of the series 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1. So this is how the series goes. Plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1. So this is how it goes, and we are given a certain term which is 2n+1. This is not an integer number. This is a okay. This is not an integer number. It's kind of a algebraic number, which we don't know the exact value of it. It's just given 2n+1. It's more like algebraic variable or something like that. So in this problem, what is important to understand that doesn't matter what it is given as n, whatever the value of n, we are going to proceed with the same procedure that we have learned previously. Okay, so we are going to proceed with the same procedure. Later on, if anything comes that we need to deal with it in a different manner or in a much more convenient way to do the problem, so we'll deal with that later. But for now, we will proceed with the very basic. So what is the basic that we know? That whenever we are asked to find out the sum, we have to check the value of r, whether the value of r is greater than 1 or is less than 1. Okay, so let's check. Okay, we know that for now we know that value of r is equal to 1. The first term of the series is 1. Then r is equal to minus 1 by 1, which is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 is obviously less than 1. If you consider the number line, minus 1 is obviously less than 1 plus 1. So we have to follow this formula for this problem. Okay, so we have to figure out the sum of this series. We know the value of r is minus 1, so we should be following this formula. Okay, so let's put it in that way. A is equal to 1 minus r is equal to minus 1, n is equal to this expression 2n plus 1, okay, and 1 minus r is equal to minus 1, so minus 1. Okay, so this is the format. Now this expression 2n plus 1, it doesn't give us any integer value. Okay, so if it's not an integer value, then how we're going to find out the sum. Okay, 1 minus this minus 1 and this minus 1 will give us plus 2, and in the numerator we don't know what needs to be done. So look at this, observe this thing, minus 1 to the power any even number will give us eventually positive number. Why? Because 2 to the power say 1, the value of n is 1, so 2 to the power 2n is equal, will be giving us plus 1. Just like that, any even number which is the power of minus 1, that will give us eventually a positive number. So whenever the power is 2 to the power n, the value will be positive. But whenever the power will be 2 to the power n plus 1, that means this power is an odd number. That means, so how a number becomes odd? If you add 1 with any even number, that becomes an odd number. So as I've said, that 2n is an even number. Okay, you multiply any number with 2, that will give you an even number. So 2n plus 1, that means any even number plus 1, that will give you an odd number. So minus 1 to the power any odd number will give you a minus 1. Why? Let's consider as 1 is an odd number. Minus 1 to the power 1 will give us minus 1. Okay. Next, 3 is an odd number. So minus 1 to the power 3 will give us minus 1. Okay. Then say for 5, it will also give us minus 1. For 7, it will also give us minus 1. So that's how we can say that if the power of minus 1 or any minus expression, minus integer is an odd number, then it will give us always a negative number. So in this case, in our case, minus 1 to the power n plus 1, that means this whole expression is an odd number. 2 to the power n plus 1 is an odd number. We don't know exactly what number it is, but we know that this is an odd number. So if we know that this is an odd number, and minus 1 to the power any odd number should be equal to minus 1. So for our case, we can write that 1 minus this minus 1 to the power odd number will eventually give us minus 1. Okay. Now 1, this minus minus will become plus. 1, 2, it will give us 2 by 2. So 2 by 2 cancel each other. Eventually we will get 1. So basically the trick in this problem is that if we have any negative number and the power of that negative number is an even number, that will give us a positive number eventually. That means if it is 2 to the power n, it will give us always a positive value. But if any number, say minus 1 to the power 2 to the power n plus 1, that means we are adding 1 with an even number, so it will obviously have odd number. So that means when the power will be odd, and if it's a minus value in the base, it will always give us a negative value. So using this condition or this theory, we have proved that this minus 1, it will be minus 1 eventually because the power is odd. So this is the only trick in this problem, otherwise it's similar to the previous one.